if you have Damian Lillard, I think you got a puncher's chance in any playoff series that you play in. Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Now. It's your boy Dom, and we're going to get right into things here today. So, today, we are talking about the Portland Trailblazers. And 1 week into the NBA season, they sit alone. They sit alone as the last undefeated team in the Western Conference, currently holding the 1 seed after beating the Denver Nuggets and advancing to 4-0. And it's something I think nobody expected. Like, if you were to throw teams out to be 4-0 or even 3-0, like the Jazz were, nobody would have picked the Jazz to be 3-0. Nobody would have picked the Blazers to be 4-0. Blazers had a lot of questions coming into the season, whether that be Shaedon Sharpe, their draft pick. A lot of people were concerned that, he didn't play in college. How's he going to translate to the NBA? And so far, he has showed signs that he's going to be able to translate fairly well. And then even Damian Lillard, right, dealt with a lot of injuries last year, and coming into this season, we've seen clearly that he's that guy, right? He struggled to kind of start stuff off, but he's had multiple 40-point games already. He's beat good teams already, and so I think the Portland Trailblazers are really trying to kind of set themselves up as one of the better teams in the league right now. Anthony Simons struggled kind of to start off the year. Obviously got very hot against the Nuggets. I believe he had 6 threes just in the third quarter. I actually wasn't able to catch the game itself, but I kind of looked through the recaps and everything like that, and watched highlights and everything like that to make sure I was up to date with my Nuggets, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the Blazers are looking good right now, and I think a big testament to that, besides Dame, is the roster construction and the coaching coming into this year, right? A lot of people questioned if Chauncey Billups was the coach for this team after last season, in which Damian Lillard was hurt. They traded CJ McCollum. They were one of the worst teams in the league to end up with the 7th overall pick. And so a lot of people question him as a head coach and if he would be able to get it done after his first year. And I think this year we've seen great improvement from him, kind of having this team really working together, because like that first game when Damian Lillard struggled and they were able to pull out a win, it wasn't because of Damian Lillard that they won that game. It was because the rest of the team kind of showed up. And I think that's kind of continued to be a theme throughout this team, where like, yeah, Yusuf Nurkic, he misses quite a bit of shots, but you brought in Jeremy Grant, you brought in Josh Hart, and all these pieces are kind of starting to mold together into a team, which is something the Blazers haven't really had. And I mean, back since they had Al-Farouq Aminu and Mo Harkless and CJ, and that was kind of their, like, it felt more teamy, but it was still the Batman and Robin of Dame and CJ, right? But this year it feels like there's more of a team, and then more of a team around Damian Lillard. And so, yeah, like I said, to start the season, their first game was actually against the Sacramento Kings. And in that game, they won 115-108. But kind of like I was saying, like Damian Lillard, he didn't have the greatest of games. He was able to, get out there, do some stuff. He got 20 points. Damian Lillard, pretty much, you can spot him 20 points. He's one of those guys in the league where you can guarantee that pretty much. Along with a lot of guys, I think yesterday, one big thing that shocked me in that Trailblazers Nuggets game was the fact that Jokic, he only shot 4 times. He only had 9 points. And he's kind of started to become one of those guys too, where even though Jokic for his playmaking, he's a 2-time MVP, and he's typically one of those guys you pencil in as a 20-point scorer. But Damian Lillard is definitely up there as well. And Anthony Simons had 22 in that first game. Jeremy Grant had 23. Josh Hart had 19. So you saw a true team effort. Even Justice Winslow had 11, right? Justice Winslow's a guy that we've kind of seen back in Miami. A lot of people had hopes after he was drafted, I want to say like 13, to the Miami Heat. A lot of people had hopes that actually he would become a really big star for them, and he actually showed a lot of flashes, especially when we saw like point Justice Winslow out there in Miami. But eventually that train kind of ended. I believe he got traded to Memphis, didn't really do anything there, and so when he got to the Blazers, I want to say last year, it was kind of looked at like, okay, can this guy just rebound and become a somewhat feasible offensive player and a defensive wing, right? That's kind of the change of his career trajectory. And I mean, so far he's looked decent. You've got guys like Nasir Little, who you extended on like a longer term contract, but for not too much money. I think it's like 3 years, 28, or 4 years, 28, or something like that. So it's like $7 million a year, I think. And that's a good contract for the Blazers. If Nasir Little turns into somebody, who he's a guy that was supposed to be drafted like top 4 in his class, ended up sliding to, I want to say 26 to the Portland Trailblazers in that draft class, out of North Carolina, and he's showed a lot defensively so far. It's kind of waiting for that offensive side to kind of click around more, and so that contract here in a couple years could turn around and be something very good for them as well. So that kind of just goes back into the part of, okay, you finally got some guys that look like they're going to actually show up and they're going to work well with Damian Lillard. You can still run a Damian Lillard-centric offense, but if Dame misses a game, okay, you just plug in Anthony Simons. You still got all those pieces around him, and you go from there, you know what I mean? And I think that's something interesting. They got a couple other guys off the bench that have some potential. And Jabari Walker, he definitely has quite a bit of potential. I like what he can do to stretch the floor, get on the inside, play some defense. I mean, he's kind of your 3-and-D wing that they were able to get in the second round of the draft. And I think he has a potential, say some injuries pop up as typical throughout an NBA season. Nobody wishes for him, but it's kind of the reality that we live in. And we could see him get some playing time here throughout the season as a rookie. Another guy would be Keon Johnson. Super athletic guy, 6'3", 185. He's only 20 years old, right? So I think he has a lot of potential at, backup shooting guard. Maybe he can kind of start being able to knock down more three-pointers and stuff like that. And, he was a first-round pick for them last year, the 21st overall pick. And so, I think he's a guy that his athleticism and stuff like that proves that he has potential to kind of develop into a solid role player at least. And so he's a guy that, hasn't even gotten a lot of playing time to start off the season, but definitely could develop into a guy for them as well. And this team, surprisingly hasn't been bad defensively. Even with use of Nurkic as the center, they've kind of been able to do some stuff, especially, you look at Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant on the wings and stuff like that. Even like a Shaden Sharp, a Nasir Little, Justice Winslow, all these kind of athletic guys that are able to kind of get after the ball, play hard on defense, and then be able to get out in transition and stuff like that. And I think that's worked very well for them. I know, they picked up a guy like Gary Payton, who they have hoped that, kind of he would be able to translate that as well. And he obviously hasn't played for them yet. But, he's a guy that once we get a little bit further into the season, he starts kind of playing for them. I don't think he's played for them. I don't think he's played for them. Anyways, once we get a little bit further into the season and stuff like that, and he's able to get some more playing time for them and stuff like that, once he gets healthy and everything like that, he's a guy that, he had a breakout year last year. He was really phenomenal for the Golden State Warriors, and that's another guy that's going to get after it defensively, pretty athletic, especially for his size. He was the mitten or something like that, because obviously his dad is Gary Payton and was the glove and everything like that. But this is another example of a guy that he knows how to play team basketball. You don't come from a Warriors championship team and not know how to play team basketball. That's kind of the mold of a Warriors championship team, is ball movement, getting in space, helping on defense, switching, all that type of stuff, letting Draymond direct you and everything like that. And so I think that should work well exactly with the culture that they're starting to build. And then, this all kind of goes full circle back to Chauncey Billups, where, it's a guy that, he's only in his second year of head coaching, but he was an all-star point guard from, a long time, won a championship with the 2004 Detroit Pistons, obviously then went on to play with my Denver Nuggets with Carmelo Anthony and stuff like that. Chauncey Billups is definitely a very, very smart guy. We've seen him on TV the last few years before he got his head coaching job. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to basketball. If you can become an all-star guard, especially off a lot of your defense and stuff like that in this league, you know what you're talking about when it comes to basketball. He understands offensive concepts. He understands the defensive concepts. He's coaching a superstar guard, but also has such a defensive mindset about himself that I think matches with the personnel that they have on this team now. and provides them a lot for the rest of the season. Now, I think they will come back down a little bit to earth, especially more towards expectations. Do I expect them to stay at the top of the Western Conference? Absolutely not. This conference is too deep, and I think there are too many teams that, even coming into the season, either were injured or just are going to take a little bit to gel or haven't started off so good so far, that I think are going to be better than this team. But this team has done really good so far. I mean, they're winning against the teams they should win against. They're competing and even winning against teams that maybe they shouldn't win against. I know the Denver Nuggets were a very popular pick to be a top 3 seed with the return of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., and so far they're 2-2, right? We're 10 seed fighting for a play-in spot right now, and the Blazers are cleared ahead at the top, right? But I do think the Blazers will slip down. Maybe they don't end up in the play-in, though. I think a lot of people had them as one of those last 2 teams to sneak into the play-in, but I mean, we're still talking about a prime Damian Lillard, with potentially the best team around him that he's ever had in his career. We've seen Damian Lillard make a Western Conference Finals, obviously, before, and so if this team ends up being a 4 or 5 seed, I think that'll be a testament to how good of a regular season team that they can be. And if you have Damian Lillard, I think you got a puncher's chance in any playoff series that you play in. Am I going to pick the Portland Trailblazers to win the championship? Absolutely not. Am I going to pick them to even get out of the first round? Probably not. But I mean, even if you go against a juggernaut team like the Warriors, the Clippers, or somebody like that I think a lot of people truly believe have a very, very good chance at winning the not only the Western Conference Championship, but the NBA Finals itself. I think Damian Lillard is a guy that, with a more cohesive team around him, gives you that puncher's chance in that series, and it's possible for him to win it. I know a lot of times when he played the OKC Thunder with Russell Westbrook and Paul George, and I mean, even throw Carmelo in the year that they had him and everything like that, the Blazers weren't the pick to win that, but they did, and they won it pretty handedly. I mean, so he's definitely a guy that's going to compete even if there's more potential star power on the other side. We know about his playoff moments. Obviously, I think that wave off against OKC is the most memorable, but, even before that, game winners against like the Rockets and stuff like that. And so if he can kind of get in that middle realm, if he can maybe get home court advantage as a Blazers team, that if you prioritize the regular season, that could become very crucial when it comes down to playoff games and stuff like that, because it's a lot easier to hit a game winner on your home court than on an away court, and that's obviously what Damian Lillard is known for and stuff like that. But you got to play throughout the regular season to get that seeding, and I think if a lot of these teams are going to take time to gel, I mean, if you look at other top teams in this conference, you got the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for a couple months. I think the Phoenix Suns are definitely another team, right? They obviously were the 1 seed last year, but they've had a lot of turmoil over the offseason, whether it be their owner who's getting pushed out of the league, whether it be, obviously for being a racist and everything like that, makes sense, or it be the DeAndre Ayton sign and trade stuff, or even the Golden State Warriors, right? They lost pieces, and now they're trying to have to integrate more young players into the lineups. Or the Clippers, with injuries between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and bringing in John Wall. The Dallas Mavericks made significant moves throughout the offseason, picking up Christian Wood, losing Jalen Brunson. The Denver Nuggets having 2 of their key players come back this season. The Minnesota Timberwolves trading for Rudy Gobert. So all these teams up top, I mean, if you want to throw in the Lakers, I'll let you throw in the Lakers. And they have so many problems in their own right that's a whole video. But all these teams in their own right have all these issues, and Portland itself, yes, brought in a lot of new pieces, but it seems that because of that quick gel, it could be very beneficial for this team to get a decent seed headed into the playoffs and potentially get themselves into a run. I think right now, Damian Lillard is a very popular pick for MVP, and I think that's for a key reason, because of what they're doing. Obviously, like I said, he had that not great Damian Lillard first game, but since then, easily bounced it back, and definitely should be top 3 in MVP voting if the season continues the way that it's going so far. So I'm excited to see what the Portland Trailblazers do for the rest of the year. I know to start off the season, I think they've blown expectations out of the water, and basketball is good when Damian Lillard's good, right? When Damian Lillard is waving teams off the court, everybody's excited, right? Either you got the people excited that, he's hitting the game winners, it's such a fun game to watch, or you got the people excited that are fans of Damian Lillard, or you got the people that are pissed off that he just did that against their own team or their favorite player. So yes, I know the Nuggets lost to the Portland Trailblazers, but man, they're a good story to start off the season, and I'm excited to see more Portland Trailblazers basketball as the season continues. Let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out, guys.